Welcome to the AI Accelerator Podcast. Today's guest is Bhrugu Giri. He's the CTO of PraxisPro, which we're going to find out a little bit more about shortly. He brings a unique perspective to AI, combining technical rigor with storytelling and a deep belief that AI should augment our most meaningful work, not replace it, which is very much in line with what I'm always talking about too. So I'm really excited for you to be here, Bhrugu. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Matt. It's always fun to chat with you.
Great. Well, let's dive right in. I have lots of questions for you. We'll see if we can go through this sort
Yeah.
of rapid fire style. Bhrugu, you've been doing a lot. You were on my previous version of the podcast, so really excited to reconnect with you and catch back up. And in looking at your more detailed bio, you had said something interesting in there. You had said AI is a mirror that reveals the essence of human ingenuity. Can you
Right.
unpack that a little for us? Like, what were you thinking about that?
Yeah. What I mean by that when we talk about AI as being the mirror of human ingenuity is that it is the force multiplier. So human ideas. So and it has the power to level the playing field. So I'll give you an example for folks that are not native English speakers or folks that come in from different countries where English is not a second language. Traditionally, they have been limited in presenting their ideas, their creativity, because of the lack of understanding of the nuances of the English language or about the ways in which the Western world typically likes to hear storytelling. But with tools like Gemini or the more, deeper reasoning models that are offered by OpenAI, now the playing field is leveled. Anybody with an idea can generate a story where they can express themselves more creatively. So it has become that augmenting force that mirrors the creativity and the spark that humans typically have, and which was previously disadvantageous to them because they didn't really belong to the background where they were going and presenting their ideas to.
I love that, Bhrugu. So true. I am 100%, echo everything you just shared. That is, it's powerful. I'm all about people, as you know, and helping people
Yeah.
level up and really participate and really bring out their gifts. And what you just shared is exactly what I believe, that AI really levels the playing field, gives everybody, regardless of experience, background, country, language, gives everybody their own opportunity just to go
Yes.
after it. But they got to roll up their sleeves and they got to get
Get
into
into
it.
it. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So let's talk about your CTO, Chief Technology Officer at building AI systems at PraxisPro.
Hmm.
You're in the trenches every day there. You've been in the trenches technically for many years in your career, leading technical organizations. And you talk about some other aspects of the workplace that I'm also very passionate about,
Hmm.
which are mindset, discipline, storytelling, which you just mentioned as well.
Hmm.
How do these soft skills connect to building effective AI?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. And something, that I've been actually trying to sort of weave into my messaging. So, uh, I think storytelling is one of the most important things that you could do with AI, just because, there are so many different aspects of AI. When you talk about generative AI, when you talk about machine learning, neural networks, or anything of that sort, there is just so much to unpack for the average Joe on the street. And when you're talking to customers who do not understand AI in general, they have apprehensions and they have concerns about how AI would become an integral part of their day to day. So, in order for us to make them comfortable as technologists, it's important to try and find similarities between a real world situation and how AI comes in and augments that particular situation. So, we were having a conversation with one of our customer teams recently, and I had to explain the concept of how agents dynamically switch topics based on what your conversation is. So if I am talking to an AI agent and I bring up a particular topic, how would the agent dynamically switch its own conversation to meet your idea? Now, if I were to talk about it technically, about what agentic workflows are, and how it gets into the knowledge base, I would lose them. But if I start talking about a traffic analogy, wherein I'm driving on a freeway and I'm working in a particular lane, and I decide to show my indicator to turn left, my car would move to the left lane, and I would be able to drive in the left lane. So an agent is doing the same thing. It is getting a signal of the indicator, and it is basically allowing the car to move on to that particular side. So the fact that you can weave in real life scenarios, it actually brings down the objection levels of the people who are consuming AI and makes them more comfortable towards bringing AI into their day-to-day workflows that allow them to be more effective at what they're doing. And I see that on a daily basis when people interface with the products that we deliver for them.
That's so true. I love the visual storytelling aspects and how you're doing using that for communication and simplifying, what AI is and how it can help people. Because I think
Right.
I agree that's very, very important. You don't need to understand, you mentioned leveling the playing field. You also don't need to have knowledge of how AI works to take
Right,
advantage
right.
of it today, right? And that's
Exactly.
a lot of technical people, which leads to my next question. I know there's a lot of fear out there, especially in the non-technical community.
Hmm.
A lot of folks I engage with, technical, non-technical, but there's a lot of fear out there in general that AI is going to replace human creativity and humans altogether and meaningful work and what are we going to be left to do? And what do you see what do you see? I know you're an optimist when it comes to this. I know I am as
Yeah.
well. What do you see that maybe the folks that are afraid of AI or afraid of engaging AI, what do you see that you could share with them to maybe give them a nudge to start working with AI?
Right. I think, I mean, it starts with acknowledging their fears about picking up AI as a tool or as a tool into their toolbox when they do their when they are actually performing their specific job functions, right? So acknowledging that the fear is real, and the fear stems from the fact of not knowing enough about how AI can actually improve their day-to-day activities. Uh, some of that particular fear has been solved by ChatGPT and a lot of these conversational chat agents where people interface with them to find out recipes or try to really get more information about a particular topic. But when it applies to their work function, they get apprehensive about why is the company getting AI into my day-to-day job? Are they looking to replace me? And what you need to really explain as either a product company that is selling a particular product to those particular organizations where that product is going to be a part of their day to day, you need to tell them that this is just an just a tool in your toolbox that you do to get better. This is not a replacement of the human. We are merely augmenting your day-to-day activities so that you don't have to go looking for stuff. The AI actually helps you identify, consolidate, and present not just your ideas, but it also allows you to get better at what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. So if you try and weave in the storytelling part, as you mentioned, into your product pitches and how you actually go in and talk about the next big idea, the objection levels are going to go down, the apprehensions will go down, and they will start seeing value into the usage of AI.
Very, very well said. I like that. I like how you also brought in personal examples. I've seen the same thing where when people start using AI at home or outside the workplace, it gets them over the fear of initial engagement with AI, and then they
Right.
can bring it into the workplace, which is a different environment and it's different guidelines and rule sets there. That's good. Let's talk about a practical example, like from your CTO of a company, a number of individuals are busy getting a lot of things done at your company from day to day.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about just an example of a way that maybe someone in your organization or someone in one of your client organizations might be engaging with AI. How is the human being augmented with AI to become more productive or more effective in the
Yeah.
workplace?
So let me, I mean, that's a great question. And I mean, I can actually answer that in a couple of ways, but let me answer it in a more aligned way with our organization's product. So PraxisPro is the it's basically a AI service provider for the life sciences industry. So we have built a product which allows commercial teams, mainly sales teams within pharmaceutical organizations, to practice their sales pitches about the pharmaceutical products that they go in and sell to healthcare professionals. So most of our customers that we deal with are specialty drug makers. So
Mm,
they are working in oncology, hypertension, heart disease, pulmonary diseases. They're working in neurology, psychiatry. So these are like really high value prescriptions that are filled by doctors for the products that the salespeople uh, go and sell to these doctors. So part of their day to day is to make sure that they're always current on the prescribing information, on the market strategy, on the brand strategy, and all that. So what happens typically, pre-AI, what would happen is that the salespeople would be pulled out of their individual territories and they would be brought into one specific location where they would be trained on the new material that was coming out. Now, as you can imagine, this is an expensive proposition, not just from the cost that is involved in bringing everybody on site for a training, but in also about the timeliness of the delivery of the marketing materials or the brand strategy or the new clinical data that comes out based on studies. But what if you had, a solution that sits in the palm of your hand in your iPhone or your iPad, where we could deliver the material directly and you could role play based on this particular material using a bunch of AI agents that are closely aligned with the folks that you talk in the field. So, say
Mm.
you're meeting a psychiatrist who is always short on time and does not like prescribing your particular product. How do you get over the objection? So, the role play solution allows you to cover your entire clinical studies. It allows you to cover the objections. It allows you to cover the brand messaging, market access, and it provides you a complete office call because you have several different personas to practice with. So you could talk to a billing specialist, you could talk to a nurse practitioner, you could talk to a doctor, you could talk to an occupational therapist, for example. And you get that rounded experience about how you message the
Mm.
same information to different personas. Now, doing that in an office setting versus doing it in a space that is nobody where nobody's judging you, but it is giving you real-time feedback about how you could improve and what your strengths are is extremely powerful. And that is where the sweet spot is for our product is that we've created this highly customized, hyper customized solution that allows our reps to practice their sales pitches, be better, and add to the revenue for the organizations that are investing into it.
Wow, that's beautiful. Well said about how you describe the product. I can totally visualize that, and I fully agree. It's more, I'm all about practical, hands-on application of AI. Like
Hmm.
my company does a lot of AI professional training, but it's not training to train. It's a little bit of training and education, but then it's a lot of practice and learning from the practice. And just what you shared, it's a lot more near real time. Praxis Pro's
Yes.
product services
Yeah.
are a lot more near real time to when you're going to use it. Like if I'm going to go talk to a doctor or a nurse or I'm one of your clients, of course I'd want to do some role plays, like maybe that morning,
Yeah.
get over some things, get it all fresh in my mind,
Yeah.
and then go put it to practice. And then tomorrow it
Exactly.
might be something different. I might be talking to a doctor or a nurse, right? So I love that. It's a lot more
Yeah.
applicable because you go off site and you go learn all that. You're not going to remember 80% of it, and you
Yeah.
got to check notes. It's a lot more hard. It's hard to
Yeah.
do alone.
Yeah, so we had an interesting statistic come out that when you do trainings in in a particular physical location, your retention drops by 85% over a 2 week period. So the fact that you have something which you allows you to always be current is amazing. And some of the testimonials that we've received from our customers are that they actually had a role play during lunch and crushed the next meeting that they had post lunch. So that feedback that we get where people are truly empowered to be the best version of themselves through this tool is just phenomenal for us, gives me great satisfaction.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love it. I love it. I'm excited. I understand more of what your company does now than from our last conversation.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about leadership's another topic I know that you're passionate about,
Yeah.
I'm passionate about, and I want to sort of factor this in as it relates to AI. I mean, you're responsible for, as CTO, you're helping lay out the vision, the roadmap for your company's technical offerings and how this scales, like with AI. I'm sure there's a lot of AI that you have integrated
Yeah.
with your engineering team. What would you say is the biggest challenge that either you face or maybe one of your clients or customers face in moving, because everyone's moving toward more AI these days, or at least they want to. What's one of the biggest challenges you face from a technical leadership point of view in moving with AI from concept to real world solution?
Right. Um, I think, I mean, the biggest challenges is about identifying the right tool set that you want to use in order to create the final product, so to speak, right? So, what large language models do you do? Whether you focus on prompt engineering, context engineering, or you look into fine tuning your own specific models. How do all of these come together? And also, when you are looking at a B2B SaaS solution like ourselves, where we have multi-tenancy, how does privacy, security, compliance factor in? How do you make sure that there is no data leakage of that? How do you scale your infrastructure to support hundreds and thousands of representatives, sales reps using the product concurrently? So those are some of the some challenges that we see. But by far, like, the biggest challenge that we have seen as a company operating in the regulated industry like pharmaceuticals is trying to get the proprietary data, go through Gen AI to generate the right knowledge base and getting it approved through the compliance, regulatory, and legal teams. Because everybody is so particular about, because it's a regulated industry, you don't want to go up and talk about something and be non-compliant about your messaging, or you don't want to do a head-to-head comparison with a competitor product. So how do you generate data with the right guardrails so that the
Mm.
experience remains within the bounds that have been established by these specific regulatory and legal teams in your target client organization? So that calibration has been one of the challenging aspects. I mean, it's not an impossible thing to do. It's just that it is laborious and it's very cyclical. You need to continuously iterate through these particular processes in order to make sure that you're delivering the most compliant messaging that you can in the role plays.
So I'm gonna ask an off-script question, but just to geek out a little bit on this, because I'm
Yeah.
also co-founder of an AI tech startup, and this is what you just shared is something that I'm thinking about all the time as well. And I don't know if you could share this or if it's part of your IP, then you don't have to get into it. But I'm just curious, do you, in order to get around the legal regulatory compliance and keep the data safe so it's not shared with the models and it's not shared publicly and all that. Are you working with more of your own like database, data warehouse, maybe RAG architecture, and then vector database, and you're
Yes.
tracking everything internally within your own walls of your own firewall and so forth, and you probably have different databases set up for
Right.
different clients or something. Is that how are you walling it off like that, more from a security perspective?
All our tenancy is in a private VPC. So we
Yep.
host the infrastructure within the private VPC, and each customer gets their own silo of
Mm,
infrastructure. So they have their own slice of the entire stack. The only
got it.
thing that is common between tenants is the core platform. So the core platform has been built with a declarative framework in mind. It's like a Lego blocks architecture
Yep.
that allows us to pull in reusable components and bring them sort of together, and then customize them based on the tenant's profile. Like, what kind of products do they want? I mean, we have several capabilities that are, some are part of the standard offerings, some, are premium offerings. So we configure those depending upon the tenant requirements and our contracting, but they are walled within a private VPC so that there is no leakage of data. And one of the great things also about our platform is that we are SOC 2 compliant. So we completed our SOC 2 Type 2 compliance certification. So that
Nice.
guarantees our customers that we have gone through the rigor around security, privacy, and compliance from as a product company.
That's beautiful. So you're deploying your platform out there as you develop the platform and upgrade it and improve it, et cetera. You're deploying it out to all the different
Yes.
VPCs for
Hmm.
various clients.
Yeah.
That's yeah, that's fantastic. So thank you for going down that path a
No,
little bit.
absolutely.
I'll get back to our
Yeah.
core audience
No,
centered
absolutely.
questions. You talk about storytelling, which I love. That's a big, I'm passionate about that as
Hmm.
well. I bring that into the training as well when it makes sense for, because there's a lot of storytelling factors into communication in general, whether you're making a presentation to management or a customer or selling or just communicating with anybody. It's important. So I'm thinking from your perspective as a CTO leading an organization, how does storytelling play into your work there? And because again, I've worked with a lot of technical leaders over the years, and not many of them are talking about storytelling
Right.
these days. So how does it factor into your role, what you do there?
I think, I mean, it's the majority part of my role is to disambiguate technical concepts for non-technical audiences. I mean, I obviously have my technical team that wants to talk technology, but when you're talking about core customer workflows, when you're talking about how the product would function in the real world, it helps if you weave in a story around how, you know, with real world examples. So, for example, when I was talking about the agentic workflow around switching topics based on what the customer wants to talk about, having a story around how this applies in a real world with switching lanes when you're moving between traffic. Like, you see a roadblock, which is a signal of what the customer, so what your agent wants to, sorry, what your human wants to talk about, you switch the lane to really meet that particular person.
Mm,
Or if there are stories around, you're talking about like knowledge corpuses, for example, with AI. Like, the agent is basically trained to answer questions or to have a conversation within the bounds of the knowledge, the latent knowledge space that the agent has. It You could actually say that, imagine that the agent is a chemistry teacher, for example, that has been teaching chemistry, high school chemistry, for over 25 years or 30 years. So if a student goes in and asks the teacher about a chemistry question, the teacher would answer it immediately, really
mm,
fast, within a millisecond, because the teacher knows that. They've been trained on that. But if the same student were to go in and ask a question about physics or aerospace engineering or anything, now the teacher doesn't know anything about it. So either the teacher may take time to read that information and come back with an answer, or the teacher may just say that I don't know, or the teacher may give you a completely wrong answer. So how do you really explain the concept of knowledge bases? How do you answer the question around latency, why certain topics take longer to answer? Having a story that mimics a real life situation helps sort of get the message across to non-technical audiences. So that's it's a daily part of my life, man. I mean, it's just so much fun to
great.
really have that storytelling capability.
I love that. I love that, Bhrugu, and I love that we're bringing storytelling more into the conversation too, just by hitting it on the podcast here.
Yeah.
Um, let's talk about some practical tips. So your company's been around for a little while now. Let's talk about think about another company, maybe same size as yours, maybe smaller, maybe bigger, small to mid size, not the big large enterprises, but small to mid sized companies. If they're just because it's still early days for most of them on the AI side for implementation, if they want to implement AI in their organizations, I really focus in on the people upskilling and what each individual can do there, right? That's where a lot of my focus is. Um, and I know you care about the people too, but you're also building technology products. But if someone's a business leader or they're an influencer, someone who's in one of these small to mid-sized organizations, what's the first question they should be asking if they haven't really implemented AI in any type of expansive way yet in their organization?
Mhm.
What's the first question that they should ask and go and explore?
The first question, I think, is like, is AI the right use case for what they're looking to solve? So that's like the most important question they want to answer. Like, can you solve it in a different way? Then you sort of start peeling the layers of the onion, so to speak, by thinking about, okay, if now AI is a part of it, what am I trying to solve? Am I trying to solve a problem around um, making information more readily available? And are there tools that are competing with the product that I'm building? Am I building a net new capability, or am I just building a wrapper over something? Because you must have seen over the past couple of years, a lot of companies that started as wrappers over ChatGPT failed because OpenAI released a lot of agentic workflows of their own. They're building apps now, right? So they are actually killing a lot of startups that just started with the idea of an OpenAI wrapper. So you want to really consider and dig deep into what your product is, how it incorporates AI into the workflow, and what market segment is it looking to disrupt. When you have the product fit level questions, then you need to ask that, am I the right person to drive this particular product? So founder market fit is super important. And then if you are good with that, then I mean, you need to go through the grind. It's not simple. There is a lot of competition in the AI space, even within conversational AI. There is just so much competition from the big players like OpenAI, Gemini, Claude. Anthropic, sorry, that you need to find your niche. And for that, you need introspection and reflection about what is it that you're trying to build. Does something exist like this? What is the value prop of your product? And then you grind good, keep your head down, and continue building that particular idea. And don't give up. That's the biggest thing. We've been through some really hairy experiences as a company, but we have prevailed because we didn't give up as an organization.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Let's dig into that a little bit more as well, because you talk about this concept of discipline just from,
Yeah.
reading between the lines of what you just shared. What does discipline look like? Like you're saying, not give up, but how does discipline relate to when you're building AI systems at Praxis Pro, and like what habits or practices do the people in your organization have that relate to discipline and really make a difference in today's world?
Right. So I think for us as as a technical organization, especially within engineering, one of the things that is most important for us is uh, we don't compromise on the foundational principles of engineering. We're very disciplined about it. So when I talk about foundational principles, I talk about principles like reliability, resilience. I talk about uh, core computer science engineering principles around having a platform vision, making sure that we focus on reusability of code and building with a platform in mind. And we are very, very stringent about that. If we don't take shortcuts as an organization, there have been cases wherein we were asked to do something, but we decided to use the right approach, which was to keep the foundational principles intact when it came to our architecture and the platform. Because when we are disciplined about how we build products, we deliver products that are not only reliable and resilient, but we are delivering products that can scale. And when new product offerings come in, it allows us to scale those product offerings also at the same time with exceptional speed and clarity, because we did not compromise on it. We were disciplined about how we build solutions. That's one aspect of it. And then from a software aspects, we are very disciplined when it comes to how we manage time, how we go through our intake process, how we plan for our product roadmaps, and then how we communicate to our customers through office hours or through frequent checkpoints and the white glove service that we provide to our customers. So those are the things that really help us a lot by staying disciplined and on point on a lot of things.
I like that. I like that, the discipline and the rigor that you have built into the culture of
Mm-hmm.
your organization. Let's talk about another facet of this. So you're someone, we both have a technical background, but as someone yourself, CTO, deeply technical, but I know you're also passionate about the human side, clearly
Mm-hmm.
from our conversation and what I know about you. Where do you see AI going in the next 2 to 3 years? Like, what should people be preparing for if they're out there? This is more of a professional workplace question. I mean, there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of things changing and happening, but AI is moving super quick. So, as someone who's in the middle of it, where do you see AI going from a workplace perspective next few years?
From a workplace perspective, I think AI is going to uh, continue becoming a great enabler for the human workplace. Whether you look at some of the developments that you already see, where you're getting email summaries now for longish threads. You see summaries about your chat messaging on Slack, and any of the sort of meeting tools that you use. So the workplace innovation is going to continue happening. But I'm also I also see that that the hype is going to die down as AI becomes more prevalent. It will become just like any other technology that came up in the 80s or the 90s or in the 2000s, right? For example, when email came out, or when these cloud-based workplace solutions came out. The hype dies down. It becomes really a part of your life. So it will take a lot for AI to wow people in the next couple of years, unless something totally groundbreaking comes up, where AI starts anticipating what you want to do next without any signals that you provide. That would be cool. And I think people are working on building some of those capabilities right now around cognition and around AGI. It will be interesting to see how that sort of comes up into the day-to-day life. Um, So I'm keeping a track of it. I just try not to get caught up into the bubble and the hype, and try to really be very focused on our core competency within the learning and development space for our customers.
That's so true. So if someone, I want to get to another practical tip from you because you have a lot of experience. If someone listening wants to adopt your philosophy of using AI to really augment their most meaningful work, and say they're an employee with a small to mid-sized company, or they're a business owner, maybe an entrepreneur with a firm, what's the first step they should take tomorrow to really advance from where they are to go to the next level with AI?
Uh, there is no substitute of trying out things. I mean, you need to get your hands dirty. I have what I have seen is that the practical approaches are the best approaches when you want to learn something. Learning by doing would be my advice to them.
Great advice. Great advice. Yep. I say the same thing all the time. As we're wrapping up, Bruger, I want you just to, if you could share, if people want to learn more about you, if they want to learn more about Praxis Pro, your company, follow what you're building. You talked about some really cool technologies. If anybody's in the healthcare space or in anywhere nearby, other verticals that may be similar, I'm sure they'd be interested in finding more about you. Where can people reach you or your company and learn more about it?
Yeah, so the best way to reach me is over LinkedIn. I mean, I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, and one of the things that I'm very passionate about is giving back to the community. So if there is, an up and coming, and I've done this for a couple of startups already that are in portcos for our investors, wherein I have provided my thoughts about how we use AI and how we architect our solutions so that they can possibly try and factor those into their products that they're building. So LinkedIn is the best place to reach me. Send me a friend like connection request or an in-mail, and I'm happy to do it. My email address is also another good place, like Bhrugu at praxispro.ai is another place where you can reach me if you want to have a conversation. And I'm always up for getting on a quick call, 30 minutes, discussing, what you want to chat about and provide a perspective about how we're building solutions in this space.
That's great. We can include that contact information with our podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah. Would love to.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, all your insights today,
Yeah,
Bruger. Appreciate it.
it
I
was
loved it.
fun. It always is awesome talking to you, man. I mean, so I look forward to more conversations with you in this space as AI continues to evolve and as we continue to evolve as technologists, you and I. So I look forward to that. Thank you for having me.